everybody. Welcome. We hope you all are having a really amazing day. And we just got to see Brian Cook and Nikki talk about some amazing stones coming out of South America. And now we're going to talk about some amazing stones coming out of East Africa. So why don't you take it away and tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Okay, thank you, Melissa. And thank you, everybody, for being here and for joining us on this event. This is our new thing, doing the virtual event. And this is a usual Chicago conference would have been in person, but this is fun as well. Thank you for being here. So my name is Hewan Zaudi. I'm the founder of Agere Treasures. We usually supply Ethiopian gemstones, currently known in recent years discovery of like several region of like start with yellow opal, emerald, tourmaline, sapphire, and a lot of gemstone being found in Ethiopia in the past 10 years pretty much. I am a gemologist and a jewelry artist, so I start to get involved into the business like 10 years ago when the opal was discovered from Ethiopia, and I wasn't here in the United States visiting and seeing. And pretty much I started the company by trying to support the miners. And at the time, I wasn't able to reach the miners, but 10 years ago, I was able to reach people from the family members who are the one exporters coming to the country, to the US market. And there was a major devaluation of the material as it was new as well and was really sold cheap. And that's when I got into trying to get into involved into help out with grading, pricing, consulting exporters to protect pretty much resources, uh, knowing the fact if it's selling really cheap on the out the market, what would be my first intention was what would be the miners going to be getting. That was the first question I asked myself, when I saw the material was selling out there for very cheap. And then a few years ago, pretty much I really get into getting involved, start to go back home. Like 5, 6, 7, yes, pretty much within 5, 6 years ago, I started to go back and forth, get involved with the miners, trying to get a direct supply where we can benefit instead of buying from other exporters, trying to help out the direct buying and a fair price, uh, direct from the miners and the one in the ground who so they can benefit the gem, the value of it. That's what I've been doing. So we got involved with yellow opals and emerald and sapphire, tourmaline, and so many different gemstones from Ethiopia. So we've been buying not only for gem quality, other method of we've been really supporting the miners and the suppliers in the ground is by buying a mine run without selecting the items where I know I can like divide the market from gem quality for jewelry, for specimens, for crystals, by getting into those kind of markets. So I've been doing that for the past few years, like pretty much overall stay 10 years. So right now we're got into a different label, trying to involve into expanding lapidary, supporting women lapidaries, women in the jewelry industry in Ethiopia. So we don't. So we're trying to show value additions, trying to get some stone to be cut in the source. There was also a government restriction prior, it just got lifted not too long ago for the opals, where certain percentage has to be cut in the country, and was not able to take all the rough out, but they have lifted that after the COVID situation. And we were planning to expand pretty much in lapidary. We have some few women's, and I work with the Women Lapidaries Association, and that's what I've been getting my few years of recent. If you guys have looked at on, I will post the link uh, where we found really nice, beautiful, fine quality opals, and we're trying to encourage the cutting in-house and at the source. But we've been having some challenges getting collaborated pieces and small pieces of, like, it's usually in demand for most jewelers and designers. Those ones were working with 1948 now, um, helping us, part of us, our group, as their share, helping us with their cutting house. So far, that's what we've been doing.
Nice. That's amazing. So, when we were backstage before we hopped on with everybody live, you were just mentioning a little bit of the challenges that you've been facing, not only with the pandemic, but um, what's happening on the ground and getting access to miners and miners being displaced. Um, Maybe I thought that was really compelling. Maybe you could share a little bit about that with us too. It's certainly leading to some challenges for you.
Oh, sure. That's a major challenges. I mean, in general, in the industry, there was always been a challenge for me, being working from overseas, traveling, and I have two kids, and then uh, being a woman, and I used to work as a part-time. The gem industry was not for me fully providing, but this is something I have passion with. I want to get involved in, and it was a lot of challenge from my side, reaching, traveling, all those miles of, like, flying 20 hours, 24 hours pretty much, staying there, leaving my kids, and back and forth. And we went back um, so many times, but it was really like connecting with the miner, pretty much trying to engage. We have family member who are in the ground most of the time, who are, especially the emerald side and some tourmaline. The willow was a little bit a challenge before, and then the pandemic, the time I start to really go down and trying to develop lapidaries, licensing, all those things. Government has changed. There was a lot of interruption in the country in the past 2 3 years. It was on and off, and currently, and then pretty much we know the pandemic hit. As the pandemic hit, it was a major distraction for the miners. Most of there was a restriction to prevent COVID. Actually, I did a research on that one with World Bank, trying to reach so many miners as possible in the ground. And as from my own personal, my company, I have helped out buying food when there was a shutdown time. So they were not able to mine as a group. They cannot get into mine site. Those time I was helping, and also the price for the minerals went really down, and we're buying as much I could, at the time, to support the miners, whatever they have on their hand. There was restriction on traveling, there was a restriction on foreigner getting into the country, accessing mine sites. So all that was a major challenge already in the past 2 years. And now that also shortened the supply chain in the country. And currently, I was there pretty much before I got back here on June this summer. So there was a civil war broke out last year, November. Actually, the day I just landed there, so I was hoping to open. Uh, Pretty much, we opened our office for testing, a laboratory. I was gonna stay there in the ground and make the base, help a lot of, there's a lot of challenges for identification of gemstones, because there is discovery of a lot of minerals every single day miners will be bringing, and they don't know what they have. So trying to help on that part, I went and set up a laboratory, open an office. We're working on opening a lapidaries. So a war broke out. I have to come back, and now the first last year was mostly affected the Tigray region, whereas the Sapphire, and that was where the war broke out. But now, sadly, we have 8,000 Wello miners being displaced. Pretty much, it has expanded to the east and the west of northern Ethiopia. The war is Ethiopia is under a major turmoil currently. We don't know where there's the miners are. So we are able to reach some of our women miners, no miners and lapidaries, and which are got displaced right now. And then I was able to reach some of them. So if we can provide some kind of help, uh, if I know at this time they all need, there is major price surge on food. There is a major displacement. So that's a major interruption, and it's a challenge really is going to be a challenge for us to face in the future is coming up, supply chain shortage. And fully any Ethiopian gemstones is going to be in a major supply chain shortage. Miners are displaced, lapidaries are displaced, people are displaced. It's a country where 100 million people living. We're going to do our best to whoever we can. And once, communication uh, restored, and if we're able, we're trying to do networking, like I've been trying to reach some of them and tell me whenever they have phones, available, if they need some money for food, if they are where they are, where about, before even trying to reestablish them. That's a challenge I'm going to be facing. And I'm going to do, as a company, I'm going to do my best to do whatever there needs to be meeting, their kids are displaced. Really, it's a sad situation. It's a very devastating situation we've been facing recently in this month. It's sad.
Yeah, it is sad and it's challenging. I think you're right. It's a really good opportunity to try and pitch in and help some of these women and minors in general that you've aligned yourself with. I think when people are displaced now, if there isn't a lot of technology, it becomes really hard to communicate with these people you have relationships with and networking. And hopefully there's somebody in our network here, extended family, that might be able to help assist with that in some way. I think in general, however we can support you and you can support these people that you have relationships with, not only just sending money to help with food, but through purchasing of opals that hopefully will help support their family short term and long term when things stabilize a little bit more, helping get their businesses reestablished.
Yeah, pretty much that's what I have done in the past 3 months, trying to get any stock available they have on hand, because they want to get rid of it, because they're gonna be having the resource on their hand. So it was a threat as well for them. It's valuable items, so they want to get rid of it. They don't want to keep it with them. They cannot leave it behind. So what I have helped out is in this past 3 months, pretty much as the tension got really worse, and the situation, especially in Wallo area, as the rebels start to move, the war start to expand. I did my best to buy as possible so they can have enough money to go around. So that I did already. I did bought out most of the supply they have, and now there is already a supply shortage, and still we might have, and then we just got a sanction as well. So we're trying to get as many miners who have supplies with traceability, with documentation. We don't want to get into any kind of trouble with the government as well, because there is some restriction government has put out after this point, where the areas where our war broke out, they don't want us to buy,
Right.
because it can be stolen, it can be smuggled. So they have put a major restriction on us as an exporter. I have in a company I set up in Ethiopia, that we have to really look into we're trying to buy as much from the people we know. We work in the past 5 years to 3 years, in personally the one I know only. And there, after this, it will be where we're going to be buying mostly where the war is not affected, the areas where the war is not affected, and we're trying to help out those women. I was able to reach out to reestablish them. They're in a safe area, some of them. The rest, we don't know where they are. That's what we're going to be pretty much focusing on moving forward until there is stability in the country.
Wow. Well, I think that it sounds like at least the government took the step where the cutting doesn't necessarily have to happen, because if people are displaced and things can't be cut and then they can't be exported, it's this vicious cycle. So it sounds great that you've aligned with Stuart to help get things cut, using his people so that you can, we need the cycle of you being able to buy more, have it cut, sell more, so that you have the finances to go back and buy more, which is really helping the people. So I think that's great. And it's a difficult situation, but it sounds like you're making things work to the best of your ability. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I mean, it's the more difficult for me is because I'm involved. I have family. Those are whoever, we don't want to see people dying. There are people, I don't want to see any human being like, displaced women, children, uh, from like, we had a hope and a big vision and it's just disrupted all of a sudden. We
Yeah.
already had the COVID and now this. So all I can do is just work toward, how we can move forward and how we can support. I mean, I have enough resource to, I have enough supply currently. So how I can use those supply to give back really, I mean, put my mission right now with these challenges and struggles they're facing, how we can reestablish, how we can help those people on the ground, how we're going to get back them to work, once everything is restored. That's
Wow.
what we're going to be doing.
It's really eye-opening on so many levels, and I can't even imagine the challenges. And I really applaud you for doing what you can to help this network of miners and women in the lapidary. I think it's great, and we want to do what we can to help support you. So let's take a look at some gemstones, and hopefully we can
Sure.
sell some stones to help support this community that right now is going through a lot of turmoil.
Sure. Well, I will post the link under the chat, but I can show. I mean, we have. Let me try to post some of very few of them. I have where I'm not able to put everything. We're still working on our website.
In the meantime, while you're pulling that up, do you have any social media presence that you want to share with anybody where they could also sort of follow what you're up to and what's happening?
And Instagram, pretty much. That's
Okay,
the one I have. So
great.
and here you go. And we also have put some special discount for regarding this event, so we can help out as well. And a selection in our booths. I'll post that one as well. But we created a code for those people who are attending from today all the way to pretty much through the conference, and then until Monday, we're giving some discount to sell some opals in there. I already put out in our booth. And social media, pretty much we'll be updating a lot of things. So we have Instagram. All the links are available at my booth. I put them under. And now we're trying to pretty much, we're going to be utilize the supply we have pretty much to last us, and trying to cut some small pieces. So because usually we've been getting, this is what been happening. This was one thing we've been trying to work. So like the opal pieces, this is like, it's very difficult to see, but they come in really large pieces. So this is what they trying to cut and keep, to retain weight instead of shapes and sellability of, like you cannot design, like it's challenging. So those are another project we wanted to work with the lapidars. I work with two association, Women Lapidars Association. They are each 20 women's in each association, and we're trying to help them. We're trying to help getting them cutting machines, lapidaries. They already learned through Pact organization was in Ethiopia, established, trained them. There is a training, the training for lapidary. I remember what Brian usually always mentions, Brian Cook for nature geometry, as how people we can use, use this resource is not going to last. And when disaster happen, people don't have any kind of resources to fall back. Now I can see it literally clearly. I have seen it in the past, during the pandemic, and right now as well, to like they might not be able to dig out for a while, then mine might not be open. So how these people gonna be living, how they're gonna sustain their everyday life? So when I was asking the women what they can do besides mining, working in lapidary, they said like they sell like small coffee shops and and a community small selling food, so I think training different skill, shifting their skill into something else, like sewing clothes, other things are, I think, very helpful in this, in general, in the mining, or like growing crops. Brian been saying so many times, like having food stocks, that's going to be a major challenge right now they're facing. Even the aid is not fully reaching around the country. uh, that is like a disaster. Yes, they've been depending on all their resources, digging. Even the farmers who has gone in uh, different regions to farm and stuff, the minute the Wallo opal was discovered, a lot of them came back just to dig, and they didn't have any other skill. When the pandemic hit, they moved to construction. The guys, most men already been displaced before even the war. So
Hmm.
I think that's really necessary as a company, as an organization, for us, giving back and creating a fair trade, establishing these people, the community of miners, diverting and teaching additional skills, additional way of they can get resource, income, where they can have other method of getting income by training different skills. I think that's going to be one of our mission going down from now, when since they're being displaced, they're in different place, wherever they are, trying to reach, establish them and to do something else.
The value added concept and teaching of that trade is so important, and you are providing somebody with a lifetime of earning potential that way, and it is a big deal. Is there something, so I know of a program in Tanzania that's doing this. Is there something that's set up and in place, and maybe like an official capacity that are training people in the gem mining regions where you're active?
Yes, previously those training centers been, I watched some of the Tanzanians and the Kenyans and the Moyo drums, and also, where I seen the Zambians as well. I also have connection with another, I mean, Patricia, she's from Zambia. We've been talking about, I trying to share knowledge, who are, because Ethiopia is new into the gem
Okay,
industry. So very small, like how many years? 10 years, pretty
right.
much. And we're learning from the neighboring countries. And for me, being involved, by the way, in the conference with our group, it has helped me a lot to see and to learn more from their experiences for what they have done. So in Ethiopia, we have a training centers. The problem being is a lot of people being trained, they don't have machine. They don't want anybody want to nobody want to get the stone cuts, because locally as much, there is lapidaries, enough lapidaries trained,
Right.
but they didn't have the machine to sit down and work with it, and the machine being expensive to import. That was one thing we're trying to do, start like tumbler machines, like uncuttable materials. What they're gonna do, unsellable materials, and use those one tumble stones, and maybe create a beads, drill them and create local jewelry. That was part of our project. We've been working with some women who already trained how to make wire jewelry making. I mean, there is countries, Tanzania have seen they're really advanced from Ethiopia, Kenya, Zambia. So those are the countries pretty much in the future I will visit and collaborate. And I mean, I've been using some of Zambian cutters as well for some our emeralds, trying to help. But facilitating in Ethiopia has been a challenge, as they only do mostly cabochon.
Yeah.
That's lack of education as well, and equipment shortage. So
Hmm.
those are like we want to
Right.
build up as much, but it still takes time.
Yeah, for sure. So it looks like we have about 5 minutes left. Do you have any other stones you want to show us?
Pretty much is well pretty weak. So I can show besides our fancy jewel, uh, gem quality. We usually do like specimens, emeralds. That's what we're gonna be
Hmm.
specializing on a lot of emerald
Yes.
crystal, beryl crystals, and opals, and it's mostly we have a lot of opals, and we work with a lot of. It's not nice. It doesn't show pretty well on the light. So we have a lot of
Yeah,
tourmaline.
it looked magical to me. It did for
I
me.
don't know if you can see it very
No,
well. So.
I could see the opalescence for sure. When you moved it in your fingers, I could
Oh,
really
okay.
see like the flash of colors, which was great.
Too much light for the opals, like it will take it away all the bright. So
Oh,
we have a lot of tourmaline just freshly cut out from 1948 in Sri Lanka. We've been receiving some of our items, so we're going to be posting those once we have tourmaline. So we'll have coming up sapphire as well, and some rubies, sapphire, tourmaline,
Yay,
garnet.
that's exciting. So, so before we wrap it up, you put your website link in the chat box. You're also on Instagram, so everybody can look for you there. Is then anybody want to throw up any questions in the chat really quickly? I think we've already got a lot to process, but we do have a few more minutes if anybody has anything they want to add. I have a note here that says the gems on your website are gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
They are. Are you going to be in Tucson?
Yes, that will be the base time for us. So we're gonna have Tucson, the ethical gem fair. We will have in Tucson with
Great.
the group, with ethical gem supplier groups. That will be the base time for us to come and see more of our gems in person, and we'll have more items returned from from the cutting house. And if you want to know further what we're doing, how far we're going with the situation, what is the supply and demand, and the ground with the miners. I mean, from now to there, we'll have more information, more things to see as our cut stones are coming back, and we're not able to list all of our gems online, still having some challenges.
So there's a question that's the best way to get in touch with you to buy stones.
You can go to just request on Instagram is fine. Also on our website, there is a contact us link. And I also put a link on our booth on this event where there is coupons and there is special selected items for events, and pretty much on my website. My contact is on the website on Instagram as well. If anybody wants my Instagram, I'll just post it right now so people can see that.
Perfect. Yay.
All
And I
my
think Brian is right. The Ethical Gem Fair in Tucson is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited.
We're excited to be there in person as well. I'm very excited, looking forward to it.
Yes, it will be. And I'm really hoping we can do this in person next year. And if we are able to all get together in Chicago, the party is at my house again. That is a promise.
Thank you for having us all those years as well. It was a great experience. Thanks.
Wonderful. All right. So you are getting your Brian, I know you're in, buddy. You were the last person to leave last time. So, oh, Stuart, you're so cute. All right, so we'll look for you on Instagram. We know where to find you through everything online here. And I promised that I would wrap things up on time. It's 2:00, so I think we did our mission. We wrapped up on time. And thank you so much for sharing such a compelling story. And we really want to find ways that we can help this community that's struggling so much right now. And we want to help you help them.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate it to have the opportunity to be here and to share with you, all of you guys. And thank you for all of you who attended our events. And we'll see you soon in Tucson. We'll hope to see you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
And
All right,
Suzanne,
everybody.
And you, Melissa, thank you.
We'll see you on the next session.
Okay, thank you.